What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Mandingo Superdome, trying to represent New Orleans, Louisiana. I finally got myself a webcam, and I figured I'd show you the lab and show you what I'm working with to produce my beats. Let's see. First thing I would say, very important piece. I highly recommend it for any beat maker or musician. It's a damn chord Bible, because you never know when you're going to need to look up some chords, or if you're looking some variation, you know. And a great piece of reference material to have. Now, one of the, not the first pieces of equipment, but my first attempt of doing some podcasting and stuff like that was, I went ahead and was at Best Buy one day, and they went ahead and they had the M-Audio Producer USB microphone. They actually had it was an open box item, so I wound up getting it for like, I think $50, and it actually came with Pro Tools. Well, Pro Tools Essential, which, you know, was pretty much stripped down piece of junk. But this thing actually sounds very, very good. It just has one problem. It's USB, which is fine for some people, but whenever I work with Cubase, I wasn't able to use my audio interface inside the computer and a USB microphone and put them into the same project. It was, I could either use this as an interface or use the one of the computer, and that was a problem. So I'm not currently using it, but I you know, if you're on a limited budget, I highly recommend it. Works like a champ. Now, probably the most important piece of gear that I have, and definitely my favorite, is the Axiom 25 MIDI controller. As you can see, it's just very simple. 2 octaves, because you know what? 25 keys, that's all I freaking need. I get a kick at all these people that have, you know, a $1,500 Korg Triton or Yamaha motif, because they see, oh, that's what Just Blaze is using, you know, that's what Kanye's using, all these big name producers, or, you know, they got a Miko or a Nico. I'm trying to tell y'all people, you don't need that. Simple 25 key MIDI controller is all you'll really ever need. Nice thing about this one is it actually has the 8 pads, and they're definitely MPC-ish. So if you like to do a lot of sample-based stuff, you can simply map these pads out to, you know, whatever keys you want them to be, and play your samples on the pads or drums. But me, I don't use them that much. It's also got the 8 knobs that are assignable. But the main thing I love about this thing is it has my transport controls right here. So that way, whenever I'm working in Cubase, if I want to turn on and off record mode and just leave it rolling, it's real easy. I can just hit it on the fly. I don't have to grab my mouse or keyboard. It's right here. Yeah, so that's the main keyboard I use. And the nice thing is, you can see it's not huge. It is heavy, but it's not huge, meaning you can fit this sucker in a backpack and take it with you in a mobile rig. It's not unmanageable. You can take it with you. Now, I'm going to go ahead, turn on some light here. Well, actually, before I do that, I'm going to show you what I use as a monitor. I think y'all might get a kick out of this. I see some people that are like, man, I got a 26-inch monitor, I got dual 30 inches. No. When I'm making my stuff and I want some screen real estate, ain't nothing like 55 inches, baby. Alright, let me turn on some light, and I can show you. Actually, before I turn on the light, what you can see right over here, that is the Behringer C1 condenser microphone that I actually bought to replace the M-Audio. They look almost identical. Well, not identical, but very similar. Only main difference between that one and this one, this one actually uses an XLR connection, and that runs into my mixer. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a little light so you can see the mixer and stuff. Alright, I guess as far as the heart of getting the sounds, most of the sounds into the computer, it all comes and runs right here into the Behringer mixer, and that is simply just a Xenix 802. It's got 2 mic preamps, and then the rest of them are stereo inputs. And pretty much what I have here is I've got this the receiver, my stereo receiver, coming into the board, and then this is going back out to the receiver whenever I want to monitor my mix on the big boys. And then of course I've got my simple headphone jack. And speaking of headphone jacks, these are my mixing headphones. Well, they're just my headphones. And what these are Sennheisers. Got them at Best Buy. I think they were like $80. But that's what I use for doing my tracking, doing the mixing of my beats. I don't have any real monitors, so that's as close as I can get. So that's what it is. Now, over here, hooked up to the stereo, whenever I want to listen to my mix, those are a pair of 12-inch loudspeakers, and those suckers do knock. And what we have over here is a good old trusty Xbox and an auxiliary receiver that I don't use anymore, but it still works. And then what we have up there is obviously a record player for whenever I want to sample vinyl. And then the record player hits the Behringer preamp, and that's just simply to boost the level up before it hits the receiver, so that way it sounds right. It even has a beat counter on that one, so if you're sampling in some vinyl and you're not sure, it's handy that it gives you a reference point of what your BPM is for your project and for your sample. Then obviously this right here is actually, I guess you could say, the heart of the recording studio, or the lab. And if you can see the gigantic red thing hanging off the back, that is actually a triple radiator. Yeah, this sucker is water cooled. But it's an AMD quad core, 8 gigs of RAM, but the most important thing inside of it, as far as the lab is concerned, is, let me set this down. Okay, that's better. So that's the main portion of the lab that you need to see, but what I was talking about as far as the computer was concerned, the most important piece of equipment inside of there is the M-Audio audiophile 2496, which is the audio card, and pretty much it gets me down to about I think it's 6 milliseconds of latency whenever I'm working with Cubase, and Cubase is the DAW of choice that I use, just because all of my beats, I don't play any live instruments. I do have the microphone, but that's mostly for just me recording if I want to do some kind of any kind of vocal work, or if I want to sample in something, maybe it's a hand clap or something crazy like that, I'll use the microphone. But the majority of everything else is native instruments complete. It's all VST instruments, and that's why the MIDI controller is so important. But the M-Audio 2496, it's simply analog stereo in, analog stereo out. And for me, that's all I need. I really only work on one track at a time. I'm either going to sample off of a movie from the Xbox, or I'm going to sample a vinyl from the record, or I might have the TV signal coming in and record off of the television. I don't need 8 inputs and 8 outputs simultaneously. I'm not trying to record an entire drum kit. I'm not trying to record a live band that has 2 singers, 4 guitars, and a drum kit. I ain't trying to do all that. And for $100, you can't beat it. So pretty much that's what I'm working with here in the lab, and I'll post up some more videos. For now, holding it down for New Orleans. Represent.